Welcome to selfdiscoverymedia.com, where we discover the communities that are making a difference in the lives of others. Our self-discovery is something we are all making on our life's journey. Here you will find the people that will be your guidance, that will be your inspiration, that will be there for you in support on your journey of life. Do enjoy. Our next show is... Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Their Story Matters right here on selfdiscoverymedia.com. I'm your host, Sara Troy, and I'm very honored to have a wonderful prince all the way from India, Prince Manvendra Singh Gohil. I pray that I have pronounced that correctly. We have an extraordinary story here today for you, is that he is a prince from a very, very long line. His line goes back, I think it's 650 years. He's the 39th direct descendant of the 650-year-old Gohil dynasty and the crown prince of Hijra in the Western India. I apologize if I'm not pronouncing this right. But he's the first member of the royal family to come out as openly gay. It didn't go down very well, and they tried to strike him of his princehood, and only to revive it the next day because it was illegal to do so. He has spoken to Oprah. He has met our Prime Minister Trudeau. He has been on the Kardashians, but his true commitment is to the LGBT community, and he's the ambassador consultant for India for the world's largest and oldest non-profit organization for HIV testing and treatment. And we are going to just dive right into this wonderful conversation here today and find out more about him, about the struggles. You know, we've had poor Prince Harry and Meghan being bashed left, right, and center for leaving the royal family or for going out and standing up for something that means something for them. And we know that royal families like tradition. Don't rock the boat, just do your duty. And what was it like for you when you first had to say to your family, well, I'm gay? Welcome to the show, love.
Yeah, thank you, Sarah, for my introduction and for giving me this opportunity to be with you. It has been a bit of a struggle for me because being born in a royal family comes with a lot of protocols and rules and regulations and norms, and there's a lot of conservative upbringing happening in the royal families, and especially in families in India where we have this.
We have dropped, folks. We'll be right back with... Sorry about that, folks. We had an internet drop, but he is back. Please do continue about the challenges of coming out.
So my challenges were very apparent because being raised in a royal family in India comes with a lot of protocols and norms and do's and don'ts, because we belong to a very rich cultural heritage, as you introduced, being the custodian of a 650-year-old dynasty which was established in the 13th century. So it was really difficult because being the first member of a royal family, so you can imagine nobody before me has even dared to come out of their royal closet, as it's called, and to tell, so
to be perceived normal in any way, right? Never mind coming out being gay. You just can't be different in any way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it was definitely very difficult, but at the same time, I wanted to be true to myself and true to others. So I wanted to break from that hypocrisy which has been prevailing in our country, especially in a country where I call the land of Kama Sutra. We all know that India has the world's oldest sex encyclopedia, which is called the Kama Sutra, and which has open mention about homosexuality and lesbianism, transgenderism, and yet our country fails to even accept the fact that this exists. So there were all these issues which were playing upon my mind, and I was feeling like it was like double imprisonment for me. Being born in a royal family itself is an imprisonment.
Yes.
You're not given the, given the
Eyes
freedom
are
to
on you all
be,
the time.
yeah, exactly. And on top of that, to be gay is it's a double imprisonment. You know, you're living in a prison in the prison, kind of.
Yep. Yes.
So I wanted to just, yeah, I wanted to just break free and live my truth. That was primarily the reason which kind of motivated me to break out and tell my parents first of all, and then after 4 years later, I publicly came out to the whole world, and that itself brought me a lot of joy. Of course, it brought me a lot of struggles, but it brought me the inner joy and the experience of to have that freedom to be who you are.
Right.
That was very important for me.
That is what
Yeah.
we always tell people. You know, it's not comparing yourself to someone else. It's not trying to be someone else. The journey of life is
Yes.
the embracement of self. Who are you? What's your gift?
Mm-hmm.
And how is it here to serve others? And when we deny people what they are
Yeah.
naturally, you know, we're asking someone to live a lie, and we're penalizing them for being different, and we're encouraging people to be different. Well, let's just say the status quo, where when it comes to government, when it comes to tradition, when it comes to organizations, when it comes to religion, they want you to conform. Nice, neat little box, fit in there, do as you're told, don't rock the boat. But in the world of spirituality,
Mm-hmm.
we want people to embrace who they are, from the very core of who they are,
Yeah.
and whatever package they come in. And we want them to stand up tall in their life, because then they're finding their instrument, learning how to play it, and finding an orchestra to play it in. So it's so important that you have the courage to stand up, despite, as you say,
Mm.
double prisoner, and you didn't know what was going to happen. Whether your parents would accept this, whether India would accept this, you knew there was going to be some backlash, but you knew you had to stand up not only for the truth of yourself, but in representation of others that were also trapped and imprisoned in their own self. So kudos for that, for standing up tall, because you know, for a lot of people, they can quietly come out and it doesn't bother too many people, but you're in the public eye, right? So first and foremost, how did your parents take it?
See, most of our parents, they are not willing to accept the fact in the first place. So the first stage is denial.
Yeah.
No, it is not possible, because they always connect homosexuality or any social condition to the upbringing of the child. And they knew that they have given me the best upbringing, because being raised in the royal family itself, there is no doubt that you're getting the best upbringing possible, best education, best upbringing, best training, etiquettes, and everything are the perfect, because you are training the person to become the next custodian,
Right.
which comes with a huge responsibility. Yeah. Secondly, it's a fact that I had more girlfriends than I had boyfriends in school, and which they knew about, and but they didn't know that the girlfriends were like more of just
Sisterhood.
more than anything else. They were just friends.
Yeah.
Sisters, like no sexual
Yeah.
relation between them. So
Right.
that was the second thing. Third thing, most parents think, and my parents also thought, that I wasn't gay. I wasn't born gay, but I was converted into being gay by being in a bad or wrong company.
Right.
And they knew they knew some individuals who are gay and who have been in my company, and they said, "Oh, my son was never gay, but these guys, they spoiled him." It's like, they compare it with alcohol, like people, when they get into addiction of drugs or alcohol or tobacco or something, they say,
Yes.
"Oh, they have been they've been in wrong company, which has made them addicts,
Right.
drug addicts or
Like they had no choice of
alcoholics
it
or something like that."
themselves.
So
Yeah.
that was the same. Yeah, exactly. So so that was their first reaction, and all said and done, they said, "Okay, even if we have to accept him, there is definitely a cure for it."
Right.
Science has advanced so much that there is cure for cancer, there's cure for tuberculosis, there's cure for schizophrenia, so there is definitely a cure. If not in India, then at least we can send him to America and get him operated. There could be a surgery, could be performed. We could get him shock therapy,
Yes.
but it is not, it is always possible to cure him, to treat him and to make him straight. So that
and
was
the
what
horrific thing is that those are the counter practices. I don't know if they're still in practice now, but have been in practice in the past, that they could cure people of being gay, shock therapy, all sorts of stuff,
right.
the torture that they put them through. And just because they would not accept them, that this could actually be. So yeah, I hope they didn't do any of that with you. They didn't.
No.
Good.
Yeah, fortunately for me, whosoever they met in India, whether it was a psychiatrist or a doctor, they were quite sensitive about the issues. So and another good thing which happened with me was that I am left-handed. I have been left-handed ever since the time I first was holding the pencil or pen in my hand. And they had taken, and in India, to be left-handed could be a problem because all our religious rituals are done with the right hand. So left hand is not supposed to be, having a good omen. So they took me to a doctor when I was, they took me to a doctor at the age of 4 or 5 or something, when they came to know that I'm left-handed, to treat me for that, and to tell the doctor that please make him do things with the right hand, because it's not good that the future custodian of the dynasty is left-handed.
Yeah.
So and the doctor just refused. He said, madam and sir, it's not possible. If he prefers to use his left hand for eating, for writing, and everything, then it will have serious mental issues on him if you try to make him right-handed. So the doctors who were
practical.
Sorry?
They were definitely practical. Yeah.
Exactly.
My mother was left-handed, and she literally got beaten for writing left-handed and forced to write right-handed. But her writing was atrocious. No one could read it because she wasn't allowed to be left-handed.
Exactly. So that came as a good point for my counseling with my parents, because the doctors used that example and said, look, similar to your childhood experience with him, where you were not able to make him right-handed from left-handed, similarly you cannot make him straight from gay.
Right.
They gave that kind of a comparison, so that kind of helped.
So finally they accepted it. And now you've got no, they never accepted it.
So see, when Sarah, when science fails, then religion comes.
Right.
That's been the case in most cases. So they said, okay, if science is something which is man-made, but religion is above science. So they started taking me to various religious leaders, saints, sages, both men and women, astrologers. For 3 years I was tormented and tortured and taken to so many different religion heads all over the country, just to see that I follow the right path. And because according to me, I was following a wrong path, influenced by some people who have their vested interest, and they said, oh, they are the gay mafia. They call it the gay mafia, and they are these criminal-minded people who are influencing your mind and trying to take you on this wrong journey. And and God is watching us all from above, and He is not going to tolerate this, and justice will be done. And these people who are the sinners, they will be taught the lesson, and those kind of things.
Oh yeah, so, I know the religious doctrine. Yeah.
You could, So what I did was, I was very, very cooperative towards them. I said, let them try whatever they want to. Why should I stop them from trying? Let them satisfy themselves. So I wherever they took me, I went. I became, for their sake and for the sake of the religious leaders' advice, I became vegetarian.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. One of them said, do yoga and meditation and all. I started doing that also. Another guy said, do some religious ritual where you're supposed to be doing lighting a fire and tying this band and drinking this kind of a water. I did that also. Another guy said, write the name of God in your notebook every day before you go to sleep. I must have filled journals and journals and journals writing the God's name for 3 years, And in spite of doing all the things what the religious leaders told me, I became more gay than becoming straight. So yeah,
it's the resistance is futile. You are gay. You didn't ask to
yeah,
be gay. You can't change being gay.
yeah,
It is the way your DNA is made. And this whole thing that something must be wrong with you that needs to be changed is, kind of a way of
mm,
thinking that really has to go by the wayside, because we cannot accept
yeah,
people for the way they are. We're looking at them as broken, and they're not broken. They're just different, just different. And why
yeah.
is it wrong to be different? Why, and why are we
Exactly.
persecuting people, where families are turning away from their children because they're gay? And that is
Mm,
not what love is about. That is not what God's love is about. God loves, only knows love, and doesn't
yes,
persecute.
exactly.
That is a human condition of the persecution.
Yes, yes, that's true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so did they finally accept?
No.
No.
In, see, you have to remember, if they would have been commoners' parents, maybe they would have accepted. But
Right,
for them, it was a question of their reputation of the family.
right.
How they would, because they always feared that this royal secret would be leaked, and it would be known to the other people. So before it goes out in public, it's better to uh, make it underground and
Yeah,
hide it rather than get the others to know, because that would have been a very big thing for them, that if this would have leaked out and gone out. So then they
scandal,
started
scandal.
threatening me.
Yeah.
Scandals, yeah, royal scandals. The royal scandals they become very famous,
Yes.
and the media gets a lot of TRP rating to that.
Ah, the
All the
tabloids go
scandals.
crazy with it,
So
right?
yeah,
And the bashing
yeah.
and the
So
hysteria and oh gosh,
exactly,
yeah, yeah, out of
yeah.
control.
So they started threatening me. They said,
Oh,
let us use emotional blackmailing methods, threatening, harassment, torture, torment, all those
oh.
kind of things. And what they used to do is that they would say, okay, by then I had started my trust, my organization, the Lakshya Trust. So they said, okay, now we will go and tell the government to stop funding to you, because y'all are doing illegal activities, y'all are spreading homosexuality, y'all are spreading sin, and you're doing this and that. So we will inform the government, and they will stop your funding if you don't change yourself. Secondly, they started removing me from all the businesses,
Right.
whatever family businesses, or I was helping with, because belonging to this family, I was involved in a lot of things with properties and
Mm-hmm.
matters connected with the family. So they started removing my name. They said, no, if you're gay, you cannot be. I was a partner in a gas station, which my mother owned, and she came up with this idea. No, the gas station, the company policy says that if you are gay, you cannot be a dealer. She just made it up. There
Right,
was
of
no
course.
law which
Yeah,
says that.
throwing
Yeah,
everything in the
just
pot,
to threaten
right?
me. Yeah, yeah. So you make your mend your ways, otherwise I'm removing your name. So anyway, she removed my name from that. She removed my name from all the family trusts, the religious trusts, other businesses, all those, because the trying to make me economically weak, so that
Right,
I give up, and I
right.
try to. Then they started socially blackmailing me, and then telling me, literally threatening me, that okay, if you don't change, we will tell all those people you are connected with, all your best friends, your teachers, your gurus, your all those ones you're very close to. I will tell them about your status, and then they will stop talking to you. They will disassociate with you. They'll start teaching you, because I was learning music in those days. So so that kind of threat started coming. So, but I knew for the fact that they are not going to tell them, because they are worried about
Terrified
the
of
royal
telling
secret.
anybody, of anybody
Yeah,
knowing. Yeah.
yeah,
Go
yeah.
ahead, Mom. Go
So I just
ahead.
stopped them. Yeah. Then they finally sat with me and they said, look, we know you're gay, but if you have to remain in this house with us, then you have to get married to a girl. There's no other way out. But if you don't wish to get married to a girl, then you have two options. The first option is that you renounce the world and become a saint. You become a religious saint. You join the religious head and become a saint. That is the one option. Other option is that you join the transgender community, and that is the Hijras. The Hijras are a part of the transgender community, which is very specific to India. So you join those Hijra communities. So I said, no, I'm not. I want to live the material world. Why should I renounce the world? That's not an option for me. And secondly, I'm gay. I'm not a transgender. So why
Right.
should I join the transgender?
Yeah.
And thirdly, I don't wish to get married to a girl because I don't want to spoil her life.
Right.
So I don't want to listen to any of your options. All three are not going to be possible. So then they were really struggling what next to do, and they started burning all my old records and files and everything. They wanted to destroy everything. Because what happens when you get very much stressed out.
Yes.
Then you go into the path of destruction.
Yes.
That mental frustration is so strong that you try to destroy, and you try to do all those things which will kind of lead to self-destruction and many things. They themselves are getting a lot of stress, mentally stressed, but anyhow they wanted to make me straight.
Mm-hmm.
And then while all this process was going on, people around me used to keep telling me that, look, your LGBT movement is good in India, there's no doubt about it, but if you really need to make it stronger and need to push it forward, one of you has to make a sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
Then your movement is going to be strong. So those words used to keep inspiring me a lot, and I knew I was so fed up with this 3 years of, imagine, from 2002 to 2006 when I came out. 4 years I have been tortured by my parents, literally tortured. It was like I used to wonder, has an individual to go through so much of hell just for speaking the truth?
Yes.
It's
and don't
crazy,
we encourage our children to speak the truth? But when you speak the truth and it's not a truth they like, then you're persecuted for it.
Yeah. So I said, now I'm going to teach my parents a lesson. They have been threatening me all throughout, and tormenting me and harassing me and troubling me. Now I will teach them their lesson. And they always worried about the royal secret leaking out. I'm going to tell the whole world.
Oh dear.
Yeah. So I'm going to tell the whole world, and then they'll realize what kind of a child they've produced. Mm-hmm. So and fortunately, while I was wanting to do that, one journalist approached me who came to know about my sexual orientation and wished to do a story about my life and all. And I said, wow, this is the right opportunity. I want to come out, and there is a journalist who wants to do my story. So this is the right chance, and I must do it. And I didn't see to any consequences. I said, whatever happens, worst come to us, my life will be taken away. What worse than that can happen? But I'm going ahead, taking the plunge, and I did it. And 14th March 2006 was a earthquake in India. It was literally an earthquake.
Yeah, of course, that was because you came out. That you caused the earthquake.
Yeah. It was the biggest earthquake in India has ever happened in the history of India. So that's how it all happened.
And of course, everybody's focused on the earthquake, and really nobody gives a damn that you are gay. So, all right, that's fine, but wait, we're in the midst of an earthquake here. So I would imagine that for most people, it wasn't such a big deal. You know, the traditional, obviously, and anybody around the royal family, but for the public, it's not such a big deal, is it?
Yeah. So yeah, and the very interesting thing, when I gave this interview to this journalist, I said I may be the first member of a royal family to come out as gay, but not the only one.
Mm-hmm.
Which means that I knew that there were some royals in India who are closeted gays or lesbians, but and they knew that I knew them. So I kind of without mentioning any names, I mentioned this fact in the media, and that also sent a lot of shockwaves to a lot of
Right,
royals, and they were literally scared. That oh my God, now this guy has gone shameless, and now he's going to out all of us also. So that
right.
that created a kind of a panic. Uh,
So
yeah.
what did it do for your movement? Did it increase you know, the validity of it? I mean, obviously, I don't know if you got cut off funding or not, or did it become a publicly funded movement?
See, I believe that for bringing about any kind of social change on any issue, not just on LGBT, it could be for on any issue, we need to talk on that
Yeah.
subject.
Yes.
Without we are just silent, then nothing happens. Nothing will move. But if we start talking about a subject, especially a subject like this, which has always been a taboo and has been pushed underground and not talked about, we need to open a dialogue. And I don't care if it is a negative conversation happens, but have a conversation instead of just sitting quiet about it. So my coming out stirred the hornet's nest, as it's
Yes.
called, and it kind of created a controversy that made people to, or motivated them to talk about it.
Good.
And I wanted that to happen, and I definitely wanted a controversy, and I wanted, because if it would have just got accepted by everyone, and then it's not a controversy, right? You need to have people to oppose it.
Right.
And the biggest opposition, yeah.
The biggest opposition?
Yeah, so the biggest opposition came. My parents were silent for 3 months. They didn't react to it. I think
Hiding. They were
they
now
were
in
just shocked.
hiding. Yes.
Yeah,
Reverse
they were just
roles.
shocked. Yeah, they never expected that I would take this kind of a step. They were absolutely not prepared. They were not mentally prepared that I take this step. So they were, for 3 months they were just silent. They didn't even speak about it. They didn't interact with the media. Nothing. Then in March I came out. In June they took out these public notices in the newspapers, and in that those notices stated that we are disowning our one and only one son from the royal family, and we are disinheriting him from the ancestral property because he is involved in activities which are not which are objectionable by the society. They very cleverly didn't use the word gay
Right.
in
Right.
the notice, but they said but he's involved in activities because they were not accepting me as gay. The
Right.
problem is that they always thought I have been converted. So yeah, so that was that notice, and that notice actually kind of stirred more controversy to this whole coming out, because if that wouldn't have happened, then maybe nothing much would have happened in my life. But I think it was that notice coming out and the more media involvement of
Yeah.
all that which brought the news, took the news from national to international, and that's when Oprah Winfrey heard about me.
Right.
And I always I tell thanks to my mom and dad that y'all reached me to Oprah. So,
Right. Yes.
so it was good
and
that
here they're wanting to
yeah.
keep it quiet, and you're with one of the most profiled people in the world sharing your story. So
Yeah,
they
exactly.
inadvertently put you on the map. And one of the things
Yes.
I think that probably would have backfired with them is that for you to publicly shame your child for being gay, or
Yes.
whatever they
Yeah.
wanted to rephrase it as, but you've come out as gay so people know they're doing that, and for them to turn their backs on you and kind of strip you of any title, is
Hmm.
an outcry from everyone else saying, when you love your children, you love them no matter what. And you do not turn your back on your
Yeah.
children. If they're a mass murderer, a serial killer, I
Right.
understand. But you do not turn your back on
Yeah.
them for being different. What kind of parent
Right.
is
Right.
that? So that would have had a lot of
Yeah.
backlash from people, seeing
Yes.
that as
Right.
shaming them for doing it.
Right. Right. Right.
Do you have a relationship with your parents today?
So, like as I was telling you in the beginning, this whole notice which was served was like the media exposed it and brought a lawyer from the Supreme Court who made the statement that this is absolutely illegal. On no legal grounds can any parent, and especially parents from the royal family, can disown or disinherit their child or their the son or daughter, whoever it is, from the ancestral property and all, and especially on the grounds of one's sexuality. You know,
Right.
it's against and at the I mean, this whole notice could be challenged in the court, and even the lawyer's license could be cancelled. You know,
Wow.
it would have gone to that. So, and this news was flashed all over all the national televisions of India. It was kind of the big breaking news of the day. You know, they all any channel you start, they were only talking about this news. There was no other news in that on that day. You know, they forgot about the government, our prime minister and president and everyone. Only I was the only one which was flashing all over the day. So that itself brought about a lot of awareness amongst the people, and they realized their mistake, and immediately the second day itself they called the lawyer, and in fact the lawyer only called them and said that I am not interested in getting my license cancelled.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
I have to feed my children. You know,
Yes.
so yeah. So he came to them and he said I am withdrawing, and then they also withdrew the notice and it was cancelled.
Right.
Now, my father, interestingly, he gave an interview to the media, to the print media, and said that he acted in anger, and he confessed that whatever step he took at the instigation of the Conservative Society of India.
Right.
And yeah, so he mentioned that in the interview. He said, and he has praised me in the interview. He said, my son has been a gifted individual. He has never bothered us any time in his childhood, and he's been an independent person, and he's talented, and you know, he's praised me. And he said, had it been not been for the society, the Conservative Society, they wouldn't have taken this step. And he mentions in that he regrets it,
Yeah.
that he's regretting taking this step. So he kind of realized that, you know, it was not right on his part. My mother, on the contrary, has taken a very low profile. She is neither made a statement in my favor, neither she made a statement against me. But she has always, like, you know, remained behind the picture. My father has been the one who has been making statements and, you know, telling the people that and as I correctly guessed, it was the royal families who pressurized my parents, because they were all scared of their reputation,
Of
because
course.
and especially, and especially the royal families who are closeted, you know, the ones,
Right.
because
Yes.
you know, Sarah, it's so interesting. As I was growing up as a child, I used to hear from my own parents' mouth of them telling me, oh, following Maharaja, the king, he's gay, and the following the queen, she's lesbian. And those days I never knew the words lesbian
Right.
and gay. I never heard of them, you know. So and when I grew up, I realized that, oh, they've been referring them to the following some royal families, and because within the royal families it's an open secret, you know, who is
Yeah.
gay and who is not gay and lesbian. But it's just, you know, it doesn't go out of the royal atmosphere,
But it
a person's
separates
sexuality.
the royal family from the people, and people want to look up to the royal
Yeah,
family as leaders. And if they're hiding their identity, their
yeah,
truth, then it doesn't give permission to the people. You know, it shames them. You have to hide it. If the royal family are
yeah,
hiding it, then I have to hide it. You coming out and being willing to share your
right.
story and being willing, having gone through everything, you were willing to walk away from family, from everything, to stand tall in who you were and the people that you're
Yes.
representing. That has given so many people permission to
Right.
come out to their families. And especially your father apologizing publicly. You know, it's how many people have gone to their
Yeah.
fathers and say, if the royal family can apologize, you know, why can't you?
Mhm.
Why can't you accept me? So I would imagine your movement really took flight during that time, where an awful lot of people came
Right.
out and weren't so scared because they felt they really had a community. They had a
Yeah.
spotlight on the fact that this is not a criminal act. This is not a sinful act. This
Mhm.
is not against God. You are just
Yeah.
actually, it's not even your character. It's not your personality. It's just who you are sexually. And so
Yes.
much emphasis is put on the sexual part of a person. We forget about the whole rest of them, right? You know, you're
Mhm.
gay. Well, what
Right.
does that mean? Your sexual preference is you're gay, you prefer the other sex, you know, the same
Mhm.
sex rather than the other sex. But what's that got to do with your personality, with your character, with who you are as a human being? And why can't we focus on that?
Right. Yes. Exactly. That's so true.
So
So
today,
yes. Yeah.
where is your organization today? Because I can imagine that now, you know I watched a documentary with Stephen Fry where he was talking about, you know, the transgender and the gay community in India, and I'm not quite sure which part he was in, and how they're still being persecuted. Um, and India, of course, is quite divided. You know, is it still hard for some people to come out in certain areas of India, you know,
Mhm.
that they're going to get persecuted in doing so?
Yes, definitely. It's a very region-wise, because in India, as you would know, I don't call India as a country. I call it more as a subcontinent, because we have so many states, and each
Mm-hmm.
state is like a different country, because each state has its own language, its culture, its food habits, and governments are also not the same. So it all depends on which part of India you are from, because your cultural and your social issues and the government support, and that's what depends on how much the person is comfortable to come out of one's closet and talk about one's truth. So it is still difficult, but now that we have a law which got changed 2 years ago, and we have yet, I mean, today is the fifth, and like in India now, it's already past 12, and that's on 6th September. That's tomorrow. We are going to celebrate the second anniversary of our freedom. You know,
Mm-hmm.
when the a law which criminalized homosexuality was amended, and we were given this freedom by the Supreme Court. So now that the law has changed, I've seen a lot of confidence has come up in a lot of the community, and they are coming out to their parents for the simple reason that they don't want to get married to a girl,
Right.
not or if it's a lesbian, then they don't want to get married to a boy, and they don't want to get succumbed to these marriage pressures, because marriage pressure in India is tremendous.
Yes.
Uh,
Yes.
uh, yeah, and parents are, we are so mentally conditioned to be attached to the parents. So parents take advantage of this situation, and they try and they emotionally blackmail their children
Right.
to get them married, even after they like, you saw what happened to my parents.
Mm-hmm.
Even they were so educated, highly educated, but education in this doesn't matter. You are totally ignorant about the subject. So a lot of us are scared that we will be homeless, or we'll be
Right.
thrown out to home. We'll be having financial problems. So not many people will come out. But now with this last 2 years, we have seen increase in number of people. Parents have also started realizing
Right.
that no, we need to honor and respect our child's freedom, and if he or she is not doing anything wrong, then it's like, it's good to give them the freedom. So
Right.
there are changes have been observed.
Good. I mean,
That
change
Yeah.
is happening. It's, as I said, the universe is shaking us up to wake us up to step it up and change it up. And that is environmentally,
Yeah.
that is, in society, that is in ourselves and embracing who we are. What is life about?
Mhm.
But to discover who you are and why you're here. And what is it you're here to do? So really, who cares what your sexual orientation is, unless in your case, it is a case where you have brought liberation to other people. You have probably been the
Yes.
person that's been around it being decriminalized, by other parents accepting that their children are homosexual and not disowning them or not stop loving them because of it. We've There are so many other issues in the world that we need to worry about. Right now, COVID, and I know it's
Yeah.
pretty rampant in
Yes.
India as well. There are
Right.
the environment, there's so many environmental issues. There's so many other issues as the sex trade and organizations taking advantage. Why are we putting so much political pressure or societal pressure on somebody's sexual preference when there are so many other issues we need to turn our eyes to? So, it's an issue that we still shouldn't be talking about, but we are, because I've known people whose parents will have nothing to do with them because they're gay. And funny enough,
Yeah.
it's most of the time it's the fathers, and the fathers, it's like, they feel that it's an affront on their masculinity. To have a gay son is an affront on their
Yeah.
masculinity. Um, how could I, such a beefy man, have a gay child, and it's got nothing to do with that. It's really got nothing to
Yeah.
do with the father. This is the
Yeah.
child. They're already navigating enough in life. They need your support. They need your love. Get over your own issues. As a parent, get
Yeah.
over your own issues and stop holding this against the child, and be there for them, because they're going to get enough penalization from everybody else. So be their support.
Yes.
If you love your child, there shouldn't be a condition to it. As I said, if they turn out to be a serial killer, that stretching the limits. But for somebody just being of a sexual or different orientation, no, we have no right to do that to our children. And that is the parent or even society's insecurity with self, that they cannot accept somebody else for who they are. And
Yes.
a lot of people all the time, like your parents, wanting to cure you or put the blame on someone else, the gay mafia, your friends influence, everybody else. But nobody ever takes accountability for themselves. And why am I feeling this way? Why am I scared? Why can't I stand up to the royal conservatives and say, this is this century, and these type of things are acceptable now, and why can't I stand up and accept my son? Why are we still cowbowing to the old pressure? And, I go back to Meghan and Harry. They've left the royal family because they wanted to pursue their own callings, a lot to do with paparazzi as well. And the tabloids want to make such a feud of a divide in the family and condemning them and persecuting them. And it's wrong. I give them, again, kudos for standing up and following a calling that's important to them. They're
Yeah.
sixth in line for the throne, so they have that freedom to go and do what they believe they need to do. So you standing up for what you believe in, standing tall. It would have been so easy for you just to have given in, got married, probably still have relationships on the side, right? Which I'm sure a
Yeah.
lot of gay people are doing, right? And, give them an air and shut them up and carry on life, in the closet. But you had too much respect for yourself to do that, and too much respect for the
Yes.
community, the gay community, to do that. And we need people like you to stand up, because if we don't, where's our example? Where do we find our strength? Where do we find our courage to stand up? We find it from people like you who inspire people to say, it doesn't matter what I've gone through, doesn't matter who's turned against me, I am gay. And that's it.
Yes.
Do you have any siblings?
Yes. I have a younger sister. She was in the beginning a bit homophobic, because there is another misconception that most gays are pedophile. So yeah. So
Yes.
she, in fact, she, at that time when I came out, she has her son and daughter, who were quite young, and she was always scared, that the uncle will make my children gay,
Yes.
so she had this, yeah. But now now her children, on the contrary, now they're grown up. The son is 27, the daughter is 26, and they are so supportive of my cause. They are just the opposite of their parents, right? They take pride in their uncle, and they kind of they've been helping me a lot in my and supporting me. So which has kind of made the parents also realize that, like, that there is some truth in my fight and my existence. So the children have opened the eyes of the parents,
Right.
the young generation, which is a very good thing, I would say.
Well, I mean, the kids look at it and go, well, what's the grief? What's the beef? What's difference?
Yeah.
We love him, so he loves guys. Kids don't see it the same way the adults do. And the adults are only seeing it from what they've been taught to see.
Yes.
So if we can deprogram people and look at our kids, it's the same with kids who brown and white, black and white, yellow and white, who cares? The kids see each other vibrationally. They don't see the color.
Yeah.
That color is taught by society and by their parents. Right? So for a child not to like homosexuals, well, how do you even know what that is? That's got to have come from an adult. So why don't we follow the example of the children?
Yes.
They're much better.
Definitely. I totally, they are easily moldable, like, they are like, it's like clay, how when you're making a pot, the clay is soft, you can mold that clay and make it into any shape you want to. So this just they are very innocent, and they kind of are open to they're very flexible, I would say, mentally, that they want to understand. And now with so much of social media and internet and things which was not there when I was growing up, the children are born with social media, born with cell phones, internet. So they have a lot of exposure to the outside world. So they know. In fact, they know much more than even their parents know.
Yes.
In a way. So
and they have idols that they absolutely love, and then that idol comes out as gay, and it doesn't stop them loving them. If they still love them, then they love their courage even more. We're as a human society, we're constantly looking for permission to be, to allow ourselves to pursue, to believe we can be more than we can be, to place any form of importance on ourselves. And I don't mean self-importance of the insecure ego, but the importance of being able to look after ourselves, honor ourselves. And I think more of a society that we do that, the more equilibrium to society would be.
Right. So true.
Now, so obviously, the family line has been broken as you didn't have a son. Was that also a factor?
Yeah.
Were they afraid that they wouldn't have a grandson to carry on the name?
Yes. Yeah. Not just my parents, even the people of the town where I come from, they also had a lot of expectation, because they still look up to the royal family as their role models or their icons, and more so because my ancestors have done a lot to develop this place and bringing a lot of infrastructure and public utility, that they respect us like gods, So they are concerned that if there is nobody to take this legacy forward, then what's going to happen? So
but, your sister's taking it forward, though. So doesn't she carry that weight?
Exactly. So that's what I'm planning, because I also don't want that the history should be erased. This legacy has to continue. There has to be a future custodian to take this heritage and this responsibility forward. And fortunately, my sister's children, both of them are interested in preserving the heritage. Even though they are, because their education and the exposure. In fact, my nephew graduated in UK, and he was serving the United Nations General Secretary Ban Ki-moon, when Ban Ki-moon was the UN Secretary. He was his assistant. So he has seen a lot. Being in United Nations, he knows about human rights issues and various things. That exposure has come to him. and is well connected and exposed. So they are in a way quite fit and ready to take forward this responsibility, which I'm very happy about, because see, we all are nobody is permanent,
Right.
you know.
Now,
Neither you nor me. So that we need to give hand holding. We need to create new leadership, and have somebody from the future generation to be the torch bearers, to kind of lead
yeah.
take the responsibility. So
And
I'm trying to do that at both.
yeah, I mean, you're keeping with tradition, but there's a new perspective, a more broad-minded perspective with the
Yeah,
children. So they're going to bring the traditions more into this century. And which
yes,
does mean there has to be some adaptability, and some traditions just no longer serve. Um,
right, right.
that's a lot with with Harry and William. The way that they've gone about it, they kind of followed their mother's path in the way that they treat people and the organizations, the thing they did. They still kept up with the tradition, but they did it in a
Yes,
way that is more relative to society today, because you can't
right.
impose the old regime on the young people. You have
Yes,
to update it, don't you? It has to come from somebody
yes.
who understands what today's world is all about.
That's true, yeah. In fact, I gave an interview in the media about when the Harry and Meghan case happened. The media had called me as a member of a royal family to get my comment. And exactly the way you have described this whole thing, the same thing I told the media. So I'm very much, when you were telling all this to me just now, I was thinking about that fact that, because I sincerely believe that what they have done is absolutely right, and what step they've taken is, I am totally in agreement with that. Because I can understand as a member of a royal family that what their steps have been very appropriate.
Right. Yes, and it's not taken lightly. You didn't take it lightly. When you were
Yes.
pushed after 4 years to saying, I'm just coming out, it's time, no
Yeah.
more, I'm coming out. And, I'm sure for them, it was a decision. If we are going to step aside from the royal family, but still be royals, but represent them on causes
Yes.
that we feel are important, it's not going to be done lightly.
Right.
Leaving the country is not done lightly. But sometimes the cause and the movement is
Yeah.
more important than you are, right? You have to
Yes.
break free of the comfort, and you have to go and stand for what you believe in, because this is
Right.
why you are here. This is your meaningful purpose.
Right. Right. True.
So your organization helps an awful lot with AIDS. What is the AIDS today in your jurisdiction or in India? Because we don't hear much about it nowadays. It obviously in the 90s it was the pandemic of its own, and of course it's still around. But do you still see a lot more of it today, or is there more education around it and
Yeah.
preventing it?
Right. So I have been an AIDS activist for now almost 22 years in India. And as recently, or 5 years back, as my introduction says, I was appointed as an brand ambassador for AIDS Healthcare Foundation, which is focusing on HIV testing and treatment. Now, if I tell you statistically, India is the third highest in the world with regards to HIV infections, which is very, very high. The government records say that 2.5 million people are infected in India.
Wow.
But of course, that's just the tip of the iceberg, I would say, because the fact is that not many people are tested,
Right.
in India. So these are only the ones who are tested, who the government claims that they're 2.5 million. But I can imagine if the more and more people are tested, there will be definitely much more infections than what is being stated by the government.
Right.
So so my job is to do a lot of advocacy with all levels, with the government, with the policy makers, political leaders, educational institutions, law practitioners, media, and various levels to try to see and educate the people that why testing is important, and also the fact that that if you are tested positive and if you are starting on your treatment, then you could prevent the virus from getting transmitted to the other person
Right.
if you are on a regular antiretroviral treatment. So another scary thing in India is that we have the largest youth population in the world.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, and that's why it is scary, is because we know for facts from other historical facts from other countries, especially in Africa, where the entire youth population has been wiped off because of HIV, and they are
Wow.
only
Yes.
the very young or very old, you know. So that because the youth is the productive part of the society of the country, you know. So we can't afford to lose the youth. That's
They're the
very important.
future.
The third Exactly. The third thing which I would like to state is that it's not the population is not the problem in India. Yeah, of course we are highly populated country in the world, but more than population, it is the migration which is causing this spread of the virus. Because we got the highest migration happening from the lower economical the states of India to the states where they are offering job opportunities and they are economically better well off. So this migration is and most of them are single male migrants. They travel to these states. They don't take their wives along with them. Now, in order to fulfill their sexual needs, they have unprotected sex with men and women. You know, and then they get infected. They go back. They infect their wives, and that's how it's like kind of spreading. And we know for the fact that 85% of the infections are spread through sexual transmission. So a lot of education needs to be done at all levels. Fortunately, with our strong lobbying with the government and all, around 3 or 4 years back, the government brought about HIV/AIDS bill in the parliament, in the Indian parliament, which is now giving a lot of rights to the positive people, and also saving them from getting discriminated
Right.
at various levels, and a lot of benefits are being given to positive people, and in that way, even a lot of education is being done. So the country, as it's moving forward with the LGBT rights, it's also moving forward with rights for the HIV positive persons. But we need to get as many people as tested as possible. That is the only way we will be able to save this country from a disaster, you know, I would say.
I also think that, quite honestly, sex education, not what they have in the schools, but to understand you're not proving yourself to be a man by sleeping
Yeah.
or having sex with many people. You know,
Yes.
to truly be a man, gay man or straight man, it's about how can you make one person happy? If that
Yeah.
person could be really happy over a long period of time, that really, it shows the character of a man. I think that a society across the world has to look at this notch in their belt of how many people they've
Yeah.
slept with needs to change,
Mm.
because not only AIDS,
Yes.
but the immoral, then the persecution generally of the women. You know, they may get
Mm.
raped, or and then it's the woman's fault always. So a lot of
Yeah. Yeah.
education needs to happen, doesn't it? Education on that. You know, being a highly sexual person, well, very well, it has to be consensual with the people you're doing it with,
Mm.
but there is a responsibility with it. And it you know, don't get pressurized like you're going to be around people and you're going to make them gay. Well, when you
Mm.
do get around people who are promiscuous, it is going to incite someone into promiscuity, because that's what everybody's telling them they've got to do. So
Mm.
that sex education right from the word go, of abstinence, you know, or being selective,
Yeah.
or being in a relationship, um,
Yeah.
and if you are sexually active, condoms. You know, they should be on the
Condoms.
condom at all
Yeah.
time. You know,
Yeah.
prevention is better than cure,
Better than
right?
cure. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
In fact, we started under my ambassadorship. We were the first organization in India to start a free condom store. So
excellent.
we yeah. So we give online order. We are able to send condoms at your doorstep, with free home delivery and with no charge. So we have been able to, because there is always a stigma to even go to a
Yes.
chemist or a pharmacist to buy a condom, you know. So we wanted to get rid of that, and we want to see that as many people use condom. As you rightly said, that's the only way you can protect and have protected sex, and prevention is definitely better than cure. So
And
it
prevention
has
of
been quite
children. More
yeah.
unwanted babies. As you said, you've got such a high
Yes,
population
exactly.
there.
Yeah.
How many of these children were not
Yeah.
planned, and they can't be taken care of because there's too many children in a family? And this whole stigma
Yes.
about wearing a condom, oh, I'm too much of a man, I don't need to wear that. Forget about that, chum.
Mm.
I want to see responsibility first.
Yes.
All right. And so it's
Definitely.
time to take ownership, isn't it?
Yes. So that's why we are doing a lot of condom promotion in the country, and we are also supplying to the government also. Many times government is facing shortage, so they order from us, and we try to spread this. It's an American brand, but we get it manufactured in India. It's called Love Condom, LOVE, Love. So it's doing very well, and we get a lot of orders coming. Even during the COVID period, we have been able to supply condoms to a lot of people, you know.
I would imagine that the orders went up.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
You got
Orders
even
have
busier.
definitely gone up. Yeah. Yes.
I did a story a few months ago with a guy who used to have his DVDs printed in India, and eventually he went to a village when he was over visiting the factory to discover that there was no running water and no toilets. And he sold his business, and he went into producing toilets like in schools, because so many people don't go to school because there's no toilet or there isn't proper running water. And that still in a country, like India, that there are still these problems, these hygiene problems. And again, is that putting so much focus on condemning a particular people for their sexual orientation or whatever, when you have a crisis like this, where there's still not enough running water or toilets in the country, sometimes people have to just really switch around and look at what's important. What is important here? Now, with the gay community, condoms, because again, you don't know who your partner has slept with. So sensibility, right? And, it's probably quite common for gay people to be promiscuous in the beginning. As it is with any sexual person who's in discovery. Again, responsibility. Don't just throw caution to the wind, responsibility. But as you have found your calling in the prevention of HIV, providing the condoms, sexual education, support for the LGBT community, we need to put our eyes on collectively what is important in life. And we are in a change right now. There's a huge change being invited, and that change is brought about by us, isn't it? Look what you did. One person defying your family, coming out, causing an earthquake on the day that you did it, reaching Oprah's ears on it. Look at the impact that you've had. So it's a good example for people to look at. When people say, I'm only one person, I don't know what I can do. We all can do something, whether it's one drop or a gallon. We can all do something, but we've got to be willing to step out of our comfort zone and step up and do something that's important, that you believe in, right?
Yes, very true, very true. Yeah, otherwise, people ask me, what was the necessity of you doing? You had the best luxurious lifestyle. I said, no, not at the cost of my imprisonment, Yes. I would never have liked to live in this life. And people ask me that, do you regret coming out? I said, I don't regret coming out, but I do regret that I should have come out much earlier.
Yes.
And not I came out at 41. I should have come out at 31, or probably earlier than that. That is my only regret. Otherwise, I will never regret the fact that I came out of my closet.
But had you come out earlier, obviously your parents' reaction may have been the same, but because you have gone through what your parents put you through, there are others out there going through that, so you can empathize with them. You understand what they're going through.
Yes.
And they tell you, my family turned against me. If your family had been supportive, it wouldn't have been such a struggle. Having it been a struggle for you, you now understand the struggles of others. And in that empathy, you know
Yeah.
how to serve them. So there's always a reason why we go through difficulty, isn't it?
Yes.
Go
Yes.
through a challenge. There's
Yeah.
always a
Yeah.
reason.
And that's the reason why I mentioned to you that earlier in my introduction that I'm starting a refuge home. I'm starting a shelter home at a LGBTQ campus in one of my palace grounds, which was gifted to me by my father. See,
Kudos, Dad.
again, yeah, my father gifted this huge estate, royal estate, and which I'm making this campus, which is going to provide a shelter home for all those who would be thrown out from their homes, and they could have a roof over their head. And I'd be having a skill center to train them to build their capacities so that they could be financially independent and not having to get succumb to marriage pressures and live the life of truth. So those are my dreams, which I want to do in my campus. Because, as you rightly said, I have gone so much of struggles in my life that I don't wish to see that with another individual. So for that reason, I am making this campus. And whom do I leave this estate to? I'm not going to have children.
Right.
So I think this estate can be very fruitfully used for serving the community world over. Anyone who needs help are welcome to come and enjoy the facilities. And more than anything else, enjoy that freedom to be who you are and live the life of truth. This is a secure place where they would be not judged by anyone. They would be having the freedom to do what they want to do without having the fear of getting discriminated. So that's an important part.
Right. They're with their tribe. They're with people who understand. And
yes.
It isn't about them against us, but it's when you find people that are like, you feel that you're in a community where you don't need to explain yourself all the time. People understand.
Right.
And if you are having a difficulty, generally somebody has gone through it and they can help you through it, or just be the ears and understanding and the compassion. And why do we, whether it's the LGBT community or whatever community, we go to people who understand us, that care about who we are. And that is what the important thing about community is. And, having not only it now, but there's a legacy left to other people. We're not going to see anytime soon, in the next 20 years or 30 years, the LGBT community completely and utterly accepted around the world. It's more accepted now than it ever has been. But we still see an awful lot of persecution. Here, in America, we're seeing an awful lot of transgender people being attacked or being killed. There is still that homophobia out there. And for as long as it is out there, as long as you're going to need that sanctuary and those people that are a community that can be supportive. So it's very, very important work that you're doing. And I hope that you're an example for other people in other countries, to do the same thing, because it's not just in India that you have this problem. It's everywhere in the world.
Definitely, yes. There is. I have seen some changes happen in other parts of the world as well, directly or indirectly, and I feel happy for that. And one of my aim is, see, in India, I like ours is a very old culture, old cultural heritage. So there is Sanskrit language is one of the world's oldest language. Now, in Sanskrit, there is a saying. The Sanskrit saying is Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. The meaning of this word is the whole world is one family.
Yes.
And I very much believe in and would like to structure my life based on this saying. And that's the reason I have taken this opportunity that wherever I get invited to any part of the world, I go to that part, I meet the world leaders, the people who are really influential and powerful to make this change happen. Because the whole world needs to come together, and it's just not these issues. It's like, as you mentioned in the past, there are health issues, there are environmental issues, there are social issues, there are many issues, but we all need to come together.
Yes.
Then we would be able to make this world a happier place to live. If we all unite.
The thing is, we've got to understand we're all energy. and we're all different frequencies
Yes.
of energy. And the higher we raise our
Yes.
frequency into the state of love, the less that we are going
Yes.
to condemn other people or hate other people, because it's just a totally different frequency. And this planet is
Right. Right.
suffering because of us. We're suffering because of ourselves. We've seen enough of the hate,
Yeah.
enough of it,
Correct.
enough of the destruction.
Mm.
Enough of the disruption. And, you know, right now, again, in the States, we're seeing one hell of a divide go on. And it's an
Mm.
example around the world of what's not working. We know divided we fall, together we rise.
Yeah.
And when we can get
Right.
out of our own egos, our own self-importance, and look to what the common good is, we can come together, raise that vibration, and do good for one another and this planet.
Yes. Definitely. So I always believe in being united and fighting out any issues on a united front.
Exactly.
Mm.
Exactly. So what is your site? What is your organization called? How do people get hold of it? If somebody is listening to this and they want to come out, doesn't matter where they are in the world, you know, can they
Yeah.
reach you? Is there a place to do that?
Yes, definitely. My website is www.lakshyatrust.com, LAKSHYATRUST.com. That's the website, and there are two columns. One is you can write if you want to be a volunteer, or if you need any assistance, then you could write a letter for that reason. The letters directly get to me, and most of the time I am personally handling them, or if my co-founder of the trust is available, then he also handles the emails which come. And this website has helped me to connect with a lot of people all over the world, including allies, because even I've got in touch with many people who are not from the community and yet want to help.
Right.
So that's something which I badly need.
Right.
I think I need more allies than I need anyone else. So I'm very fortunate that through this website I've got in touch with many people, very influential people, who are really genuinely want to help us in spreading the word, and to mainstream our issues in the society. That's very important. The word mainstreaming is very important for me, because we need to be mainstream, and these allies are the one who are helpful to me. So anyone who wishes to write, they are more than welcome to write to me. I'll try to reply to them as fast as possible. If they have any issues of coming out, or any kind of social issues, or any issues, personal issues they are facing, then we are trying to help them out as well. And nowadays, I mean, the world has become kind of virtual. We are. I mean, you are in Canada, I'm in India, yet we are having such a
Right.
talk as if I'm just sitting in front of you and talking.
Exactly. And
So
you met our Prime Minister Trudeau. He came to see you.
Yes.
And you know, we're very proud of
Exactly.
the fact that he's such a humanitarian. He really stands
Yeah.
up for the LGBTQ community, stands up for refugees, he stands up for the
Yes.
downtrodden. So
Yeah.
we're very proud of him over that.
Exactly. So yeah, I think through websites and through virtual contacts and virtual platform, we will be able to connect and still keep doing our work. It's not necessary that I have to travel to Canada, or you have to travel
Right.
to India, or we can, on virtual platform itself, we can do so many things which we can't even imagine. So anyone who wishes to connect, I'll be more than happy to get connected with anyone through this site. Those who would be knowing about this platform, this website, I'll be very happy to connect.
And you know, it's so very important that people do reach out. You know, and if you, no question is too stupid, because you know, if it means something to you, then you need an answer. So again, the site is www.lakshyatrust.com, and to reach out to you, and you know, just The fact that you read the emails, you and your co-founder yourselves, also shows the engagement that you're putting in there, that this isn't something you're tossing off to a whole load of volunteers. You're engaged with this. You care. You want to make a difference. You want that sanctuary for people. And that's what we need more of in the world. We've seen enough of leaders who want to be dictators. We want to see people who want to be, there for the people, who care for the people. And when you care for another human being and you step up in kindness, look what you're doing for that human being. Look what you're doing for them. You're seeding those possibilities, that permission, that allowing for them to bloom, for them to be all that they're meant to be. And all it takes is some kindness and some caring.
Yeah, Sarah, I want to add something to what you say. Yeah, definitely, I like to care about the other persons, but it is very important, firstly, to care about yourself.
Yes.
We need to first care for yourself, then you will be able to care for others. So I always tell everyone I meet, I said, your first duty is towards yourself. Then it is towards others. So if you care for yourself, you keep yourself healthy, you keep yourself smiling, you keeping yourself happy, then you will be able to make others happy, others healthy, and then that caring becomes more stronger.
The abundance rubs over, right? Yeah. It's building people up to the point of their own abundance.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
And you stood your ground. You stood your ground, you took the beatings, so to speak, and you came out and you stood tall in it. So thank you for doing that, because it doesn't matter if somebody's gay or if somebody is just having a hard time. I've interviewed a few women who, East Indian women here in Canada, that were in forced marriages. And they came out of them, planned marriages. And they finally stood up for themselves and said, no, this is not for me. And it takes courage to do that. It takes strength to do that. But when you've got somebody who's done it, despite the odds, faced the challenges, knows the difficulty, but stood up and said, I am, without apology, right? That is something that we look to. So thank you so much for having the courage and the tenacity to do that, because it's very, very important in the world. Thank you.
Yes, yeah. Thanks. Yeah, thanks for having me on this show as well. Yeah.
It's been an absolute delight, total privilege, and it's really, really important that people understand, if you have somebody gay in your family, put your prejudice aside. Stop looking at them at their sexuality and look at them for their heart and their soul and their character. What their sexuality has really got nothing to do with you. You have no right to persecute them. And if they're coming out and they're confused and they don't know where to go, then help them. They don't need your persecution. They need your guidance, which is really important. And you can go to Manvendra and you can go to the site and you can see all the encouragement there, and you're not alone, which is important. Nobody wants to be alone. So thank you so much for sharing your story here today.
Thank you for having me again.
My pleasure. Until next time, folks, remember, we can make the difference that we seek. So bye for now. We hope you enjoyed the show. We look forward to bringing you more shows. Please go to selfdiscoverymedia.com/shows and you will see the incredible lineup of genres and shows that we have for you. We are here to make a difference in your life. Thank you for listening.